real question is this car worth $55,000? In my honest opinion. What's going on, guys? Car review guys here. My name is AJ, and today and this week we're with the 2022 Toyota Supra 3-liter Premium. So we got the top of the line here, and I'm here to tell you, I've already driven it a few times, but as you're going to find out in this review, this is a very, very impressive car. Without further ado, let's jump into this review. So starting off with the exterior, just looking at the engine bay, we have 382 horsepower from an inline-six turbo car. And as I've already mentioned, it is very impressive. But before we walk around it, let's pop the hood and let's take a look at it. We do have the car running, so you can hear it here, nice and smooth, and it is girthy. Especially for that inline-six. I mean, that thing almost looks like a V8 in there. But long story short, it is very nicely done, I think. Very clean, has a nice cover. Looks good in my opinion. And the nicest thing, it does have hood struts. The other thing is, whenever you pop this hood, you literally just pull the lever on the inside 2 times and it just pulls straight up. There's no other handle or anything like that anywhere. And I'll show you the handle here. So this handle right here, it says 2X with the hood. You literally pull it once, pull it twice, and that's all you do for the hood. After that, you just lift the hood up. And walking around this vehicle, let's start in the front. We do have nice LED headlamps and obviously nice little runners there, which looks super aggressive on this car. You do have a functional vent right down here. Hopefully you can see that pretty well. This is obviously just all filled in fake plastic, but this down here actually is functional. It cools the rotors for the brakes, so that is a very, very good thing. This is also functional right here. You can see the radiator back there trying to help keep some airflow going. And then you can see the sensors on both sides for parking. This car, however, does not have 360 camera, so you do have to rely on those sensors, and they do work pretty well. All right, working our way around here, you do have this nice aggressive looking splitter. I think that looks great in my humble opinion. And then the wheels have like a two-tone to them, and then the rotors are pretty big. They're 13.7 inch, and then it is a pretty big caliper as well. I believe 6-piston, if I am not wrong. And then the wheel size up front here, we do have a 255/35 R19. So fairly good sized tires, 255s in the front, nothing wrong with that. Alrighty, continuing on back here, so you do have a fake hood vent here. Looks a little different, but it also does help with the overall look, because from, you know, up here, it looks extremely good. Keep going back, you do have a matte color on this mirror cap. You can get aftermarket like carbon fiber or whatever you want, and it's pretty easy to change out from my understanding, so that's good. On the door, you do have a fake vent here as well, but again, it's for aesthetics, and I must say, it looks quite good. Down below, we do have a black looking splitter, which comes out down here. And again, it really helps the overall look aesthetics of this car. And the rear tires are supporting a 275/35 R19. So again, nothing wrong with that. Like, that's actually really good for what this car is, and there's plenty of traction. I was impressed with the acceleration on this car. Last but not least, working our way to the back here, you do have this huge looking diffuser, and it really makes the back of this car look so good. Fake vents here as well, but again, these actually, it really pulls this car together and ties it in well. For those of you that are very new to the Supra, this is the reverse light, so it may look a little funny, but it actually looks really good at night. Let's pop the trunk really quick, or the hatch, whatever you want to call it. So you got to come up here. This button is a little bit hidden. It's in the door panel. It's all the way underneath right here. Hopefully you can see that. Press that. And this is what the trunk looks like. Some pretty big speakers there. And that's really all you get. I mean, there's really not much room back here. I won't lie to you on that front, but really quick, because we have the paper here, this car comes in at $56,910. Base price $54,690. and it does have the driver assist package, as you can see right there. And last but not least, to close the hatch, you do have two nice handles right up here, which are definitely nice to have, because then you don't have to worry about touching paint or any of that. And it shuts pretty easily. And let's make our way to the inside. So you can unlock the vehicle right here, and you can also lock it right there on the three little lines. So if you're getting out, you would just press that and that would lock the vehicle. To get in, just go like this and it'll unlock. In this case, it's already running, so therefore no chimes or beeps or anything like that. Pretty standard switches over here, your unlock and lock, and then obviously your window switches, and all of your mirror adjustments are there. And then right beside the left side of the steering wheel, this is all of your light settings that you can do here, and then this is your interior lights and instrument cluster and all of that for your brightness. Instrument cluster in this vehicle is a full LED digital display, and as you can tell, it is quite hot here in Arizona. 100 degrees already, and the time is actually wrong. It's an hour before that, so 12:12. Long story short, you have your speed here. It'll do your drive indicator, so like watch, if I put it into drive, and then if I put it into sport, and off, and back into park. Okay, and then last but not least, over here on the indicator, move that, see where it says BC? You can press that button and it'll change a few options on here for you, just on the bottom right. That is my favorite one because it shows how much you got until empty. On the steering wheel, this is all of your cruise control. This is your adaptive cruise control settings, so you know how far you want to be away from the vehicle. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. You do have minus and plus if you want to use manual mode. On the right hand side, this is all of your audio type settings, plus minus, up and down for your volume and whatnot. So that's pretty straightforward. Over here in the center console, this is my favorite part of the interior along with the seats, but look at that carbon fiber glistening. I mean, you want to talk about nice. That is such a nice touch by Toyota. Looks amazing. You will notice, if you're familiar with cars, this is all BMW setup, and that's because this car was a joint operation with BMW and Toyota, as many of you may know. Working our way up here, you do have dual climate control, which is definitely very nice. It does only have heated seats, there's no cooled seats, so maybe eventually we'll get those, but not on 2022. Working our way up, this screen is a touch screen along with being controlled by the dial, which is super nice because you do have the option to do whatever you would like and how you want to control it. You do have two cup holders right back here and just a little bit of storage space there, but there's no actual center console, so that's a pretty unique design. Taking a look at the seats are very, very nice. I love the look of the seats in this car. The bolsters also adjust in and out, so you can actually, you know, have it to your liking, which is a very good touch, and you can see straight into the back right there. So it is a very small cabin, but I will say there is plenty of headroom. And I am 5'9", so I'm not super tall, but there is plenty of headroom. I mean, I would say at least 6 inches for me. So anyone under 6'5" is gonna be really comfortable in here, in my opinion. Last but not least, two things on the interior is we do have heads-up display, as you can see out there. And then we do have right here your buttons for home link. So that way you can get in and out of your garage after you program them. Obviously, start stop is right there. But that is pretty much gonna wrap up the interior of this vehicle. And I think it's time we get this thing out on the road. So without further ado, let's roll. have gone through the exterior and interior, it's time to take this 2022 on a quick little drive. So, first things first, whenever I start this car up, I don't put my foot on the brake to start it. I put it on start-stop, just press it one time. I throw it in sport mode, and then I start it, because you get a little burble action. Sounds pretty good. I'm telling y'all, for a stock car, inline six, 3-liter, this thing's wild, okay? It's wild. And the thing is, it's like comfortable. So let's get this thing out on the road and we'll talk more about it in just a second. We got this thing out on the road here, and the last thing that I touched on was how comfortable this car is. So if you're looking for a daily driver that you want to be sporty, but also have comfort, I think this is gonna fit the bill for you. Because, like, for example, my C7 that I have, Z06, while it's a fun car, it's really fast. Even if you're in touring or the most comfort mode, that car, you're gonna feel every bump. I mean, it's just rough. That's just what it is. And this car is very well balanced, because when you click it in sport mode, the exhaust opens up, you get everything you want out of this car. And then whenever it's not, it's just in normal mode, like, the seats are plush, you can change the bolsters, like, it's really comfortable. Now, the only thing I will say is, if you are a person that's going to daily drive it, but get in and out of it all the time, and you're bigger than myself, 5'9", it's not the easiest car to get into, but like once you're in, it's very spacious. Like, you got all this headroom. I'm 5'9", so you know, there's pros and cons to everything. You're never going to have it all in every single car. And getting in and out, to me, that's minor. I mean, if you're like older, 60s, 70s, maybe it's not the car for you. But I would say the average market is 20 to 50 is probably the average age. And I think for this car, I think they really did very well. And as it's comfortable, right? You could be just cruising along, and then you're like, oh, well, now I need to go. I mean, it actually really goes. Oh my goodness. I mean, that'll never get old. And so as far as braking, I'm impressed with the brakes personally. I don't know, I mean, I don't know how they stack up like on the track. I don't know if they're that good. I can't track this car, but even if I could, I wouldn't plan to. It's just not what I would do with it. But I mean, yeah, the brakes are good, because I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as you go to touch them, matter of fact, they're honestly a little bit touchy, because as soon as you go to touch it, I mean, it's like braking. So I'm very happy with the brakes. Let's touch back again to comfort and drivability. So as I've already stated, it is comfortable, but the one thing I will say when driving this car is, and it's probably unsurprising, is there is a big blind spot off to your right. Like, the whole hatch area is a blind spot. So you just got to be careful. It does have blind spot monitoring, so I mean, that helps a lot. And then the mirrors are also really big in this car for the size of the car, and so it really helps you see quite well. So as long as you're just like checking your mirror, you can easily see who's there, to be totally honest. So it's not really a big deal, but just letting you know, it is there. The other thing I'll notice about the drivability of this car is it's very, very planted. So like, if I, like right now, wanted to go left, I mean, like, it is immediate on how quick this car turns. It's impressive, to be totally honest. It really is impressive. The other thing that's really impressive about this car, in my opinion, inline six, 382 horsepower, this thing gets 30 miles to the gallon on the freeway and like 22 city. I think that's good. I think it's really good. 0 to 60 on this thing's roughly 3.9. give it some error for, you know, real world type of stuff, but I mean, that's impressive in my opinion. I am really happy with the gas mileage they got out of this thing, and that really helps sell this car whenever it comes from a daily driven aspect for those people that can't afford maybe a second car, right? Because the MSRP on this is going to come in around $55,000, and to me at least, that's not chump change. But the real question is this car worth $55,000? In my honest opinion, yes, it is worth $55,000 because this car is so well balanced. You have the daily driver, you know, aspects of this car and how comfortable the seats are, plush, the suspension. But then you also have, like, you know, a little secret rocket if you really want to use it. And then all the interior finishes are just so gorgeous on this car. Like down on the center console, you have like the carbon fiber, which you already saw. And you just have so many amenities in this car that I really do think it's worth $55,000. And not to mention, this car is a looker, right? I mean, this car gets looks everywhere I've taken it so far. And it's honestly fairly rare, right? Like, you don't see Supras every single day. If you do, maybe you work at the Toyota or BMW plant where these are actually made. The other thing I wanted to point out as we are driving, the road noise is always important to people. And I will say this car has very little road noise, which is great, again, especially for a little car. Like, I am shocked that that's the case, but that is the truth. There is hardly any road noise. The only noise you will hear is the exhaust, for sure, and that's a stock exhaust, and it is dramatically different between sport and non-sport. Like right now, I'm in just regular mode, I'm not in sport mode. The wind noise, I don't hear hardly anything. The only thing, like, if there's any noise that I do hear other than the exhaust, it would definitely be if it's a rough road with these tires. But I mean, it's not like it's like bad by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, like right now is probably the roughest road you'll ever be on as far as texture goes, and I don't know what you can or can't hear on your end, but it's very acceptable for me. There is no issues with this. Alright, now let's put it in sport mode. We have a little, oh wow, that was really quick. Okay, it literally, as soon as I hit sport, it downshifted twice, and it's holding it at just under 3. That's responsive. This does have an 8-speed automatic, if I haven't mentioned that yet, and I'm here to tell you, this thing does exceptionally well with shifting, because it's not a DCT, right? So that's something to remember. It's not a DCT, but it shifts as close to a DCT as you're going to get. Now, I am excited. They obviously have the new manual coming out. I love manual transmissions personally, but from a daily driver aspect, a manual would get old. I know that. I own manuals, so yeah. All right, we have a little S-turn here. Let's go into it just a little bit. All right, it's holding very well. Right into the turn, no roll. I mean, it sticks. I didn't accelerate through that turn, but I also didn't hit the brake. I just let it just, that was good, wow. Alrighty guys, while wrapping this video up, in the next videos, there's gonna be 5 things that I think could improve on this car. There's room for improvement in every vehicle, okay? These aren't bad things. It's just options or things that they could put on this car to make it better. And then I'm gonna do 5 things that I absolutely love about this vehicle. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's review. Again, to me, this vehicle is really worth the money. Like, this is a bang for your buck type of car. Again, I know that $55,000 is not cheap. I understand that, but for what you're getting, this car is absolutely worth the money. And just like that, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.